Hey guys, it's Nicole here, and I listened to Brian Johnson's lecture on optimal weight or optimal metabolism 101, and I wanted to share my top 3 takeaways. So, a summary of his summary. Um, so, my first takeaway is that sugar is a drug, and if you look at cocaine and sugar side by side, they're both white, super refined, and just what sugar does to you in your brain, hijacks your brain. It is a drug, and to realize that. And for more on that, there's a book that he mentioned, The Case Against Sugar. And then my second takeaway related to that is to use Bright Lines, the book by, what's her name? I'm forgetting it. But anyway, Susan Peirce Thompson, but she talks about to do no sugar and no flour, consume none every day of your entire life. And she has a couple other suggestions, but that is a great remedy to sugar as a drug, and also to achieving your optimal weight. Um, and in the Bright Lines, a really interesting point is, if you think that cutting out sugar and flour is extreme, think about this. 70,000 people in the US per year cut off a limb because of their type 2 diabetes. So that's pretty persuasive. And then the third one that I want to like mull around in my head a little bit more, because I find it just so interesting, is his 90-90-90. So achieving your optimal weight is 90% nutrition, and doing that is 90% psychological, and that is 90% physiological, which then feeds into the nutrition. So to flesh that out a little bit, which I'm still working on, and maybe need to re-listen, but he said a ton of stuff within that 90-90-90. But on the 90% psychological, because in order for me to make the optimal nutrition choices, a lot of those choices come from my brain and psychological. So I think of the top 2 tips. One is buy your willpower at the store. If I don't want sugar in my house, then don't buy any sugar at the store and bring it into my house, which goes to achieving. If you have a habit that you want to achieve or eliminate, you make it invisible and hard and miserable immediately, which I think actually is why it's hard for me to cut out sugar, because I'm not miserable immediately. So I need to figure out a way to make it miserable immediately, but really to focus on that first thing of make it invisible. Just don't, if I don't want sugar, don't have the sugar. Whatever it is that you choose that you don't want, make it invisible. Make it nowhere in your house or your day or anything, if you can do that. Also, what I do sometimes when I go to public places, I bring my own food, of healthy food, if I know they're just going to be serving pizza or whatever. And then psychological, the 90% is psychological. So 90% of your serotonin is actually produced in the gut and not in the brain. So then, we really need to make sure our gut is healthy, because then that will feed our wise decisions on nutrition and so forth. So I think that is just so interesting. And just, how to actually make these wise nutritional decisions. And I would like to flesh more out of like what is going on in the brain and the head, and all that stuff. And so that's my third takeaway. And then as a bonus little takeaway, one thing that I can really learn from is that exercise and movement is a wellness tool, not a weight loss tool. And he said that at a different point, you can't out-train a bad diet. So that relates to my life, because instead of going for like a 3-hour bike ride, I could go and exercise for 1 hour more efficiently, and then that day and the whole rest of the week and the whole rest of my life, eat no sugar or flour. And I would be healthier than if I did the 3-hour bike ride and had sugar and flour all day, every day. So that's the bonus one. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.